What's up, guys? It's your boy Dorian here with Collider Games, and today I'll be reviewing the new Shadow of the Tomb Raider game, and this is actually going to be my first Xbox review, so I'm pretty excited about this. And if you've already watched my previous video where I do the 4-hour demo review, I know I said Laura the whole time. I apologize for that. I failed the Tomb Raider community, but I promise this video I'll make sure to say Laura. Now, I'm going to be thinking about that the whole time. It is Lara Croft, not Laura. Lara. But let me jump right into the review. So in my in my preview review I did a couple months ago, I kind of went over the synopsis, so I don't want to touch on that too much. But I will say that if you haven't played the other games, you won't necessarily need to play those in order to jump right into this one. This game finds Lara Croft on a new mission, trying to stop Trinity again, and the event she does in the beginning of the game cause a bunch of different reactions around the village and around the area that she's in. So she's on a journey to try to stop those and create peace within the land of Paititi, and also stop Trinity at the same time. So you have two different storylines kind of intertwining with one. Like, she has to stop Trinity while she's trying to stop this big event happening all around the area. And throughout this game, I will say that it was enjoyable if you are a fan of the Tomb Raider franchise. And if you're not, I think you'll still have fun. But I think this was a great way to wrap up the trilogy, because this is the third game in the rebooted franchise. And I think with this one, it was more character driven than anything, and I thought that was the perfect way to end. If this is going to be the last game within this franchise, I thought this was a perfect way to end on a more character driven Laura, because we've seen her be so badass in these other games, but in this one we've really got to see her be emotional, be vulnerable, rely on other people, not just for help in terms of combat and stuff like that, but just emotional support, because of what she calls and the event she calls, she does doubt herself, and she does feel some turmoil within herself, and you see that carry out throughout the whole story. And I want to say a side note that the character acting in this as well is pretty dope, because the rendering of her face and all that, her facial expressions when you do see that self-doubt in her, were really well captured. And it kind of reminds me of, we just did a review of the Spider-Man game, and one of the big draws from that game was the story and the character development. So this kind of, it's whole different stories, of course, but the story is more important than the actual gameplay, in my opinion, for this one as well. So I think they did a good job of capturing who Lara is, and outside of just being a badass and a explorer of all these caves and stuff like that, but we saw who Laura actually is, and I think that was a first, and I really enjoyed that, which I kind of touched on in my other review. But once I dived into the actual game, like past the 4 hours I played, but previously, I was so blown away with her story arc with Jonah, with her story arc with the people of Paititi. It was incredible to watch, and when you're not playing the game, it really just felt like an animated movie. And I know the Tomb Raider games get compared to the Uncharted 4 games or the Uncharted games a lot, but I will say that this one did remind me of Uncharted 4 when it comes to the cinematography alone. Like, both of those games, this game really reminded me of that, and that way, just the cinematography, the aspects of the land, the mountains, and all of that, it was really beautiful. But another thing it reminded me of when it comes to Uncharted 4 is you got to see Nathan Drake be a kid, and what inspired him to start doing what he's doing. And you kind of get a flashback of, if that's not really spoiler, but you kind of get a flashback of Laura's past and her childhood, and you get to see what kind of inspired her, not just besides her father being murdered by Trinity, but what inspired her just to be an adventurer in the first place. So I thought that was really well added and placed into the whole storyline itself, because it caught me by surprise, and I wasn't expecting to dive into all of Laura's past, but we got to see some of that, and that was pretty well written overall. So shout out to the writers for including that bit of giving us Laura's backstory and giving us more of who she is as a person. But yeah, so when you're watching the animated parts, you kind of get lost in, oh wait, am I supposed to be playing now, or am I supposed to be watching? And I want to say that's a compliment, because that just goes to show you how well the game flows together, not just when you're at hand, but when you're watching it. And that's why I want to say it reminds me more of Uncharted 4, just because that was kind of reminiscent of when I was playing Uncharted 4. That you don't know when it's real game, when it's just the animated part going up. So that is a compliment in itself. So if you are a fan of the other games, then you definitely will enjoy this game. I guaranteed, because I played the other games, and I went into this game and I started playing it, loved it. I was like, this is a little bit too familiar for me, but it's not a bad thing. And then once you get to the heart of the game, then that's when things start to change a lot more. And when I say familiar, this this is the first time I played it on Xbox, but when I've played Rise of the Tomb Raider on my PS4, and I will say, like, just when you're a video gamer, like familiarities between the two. So it felt familiar in a way, like I knew what kind of controls to press, even if they weren't the same button. So if you're a fan of the franchise, the Tomb Raider franchise in general, then you will enjoy this game, and you will notice that there are some familiarities when it comes to controls and stuff like that, but they do add traversal techniques that make the game a lot more fun and give you a lot more control in climbing, because there's some areas that you would not be able to reach in the other games without these new added traversal techniques, and just makes it overall, makes you think more creatively about where you can go and what tombs and other things that you can actually reach because of the new added techniques. So just keep that in mind when you're playing that. And also, keep that in mind while you're playing, because there will be some hidden tombs, there will be some caves, there will be underwater gameplay that you will notice that you can reach now that you couldn't reach beforehand. So definitely just keep that in mind while you're playing throughout the game, because you'll get a lot more experience, you'll find new treasures, you'll find new objects, and you'll be able to hone in your skills more with that, with the use of those techniques. So overall, that's probably one of the biggest things that changed for me compared to the other games, is the added techniques of the traversal. And also, when you're in combat, they added some cool shadow takedowns that really show off Laura's fighting skills that we've seen throughout the other games, but now she's owned it. She's a badass killer. She's not just an explorer anymore. She can kill you. She's not a killer, but don't push her, because she will kill you. Like, she hides in the shadows. That's why they call it Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because now she's on her Dark Knight-ish, and she's ready to take down anybody who's hurting her people. I mean, they're not really her people, but, they're her people now that she caused all this drama for them, so now they have to be her people until she saves them. So they're her people by default. But you get to see her take down all these enemies using hiding in trees, hiding in the grass. It's just so badass. There isn't really that much action, though, throughout the whole game. That it's not a bad thing. There's just not as much action as I was expecting. But that goes into the part where they play more into Laura's character story, rather than it just being more about her fighting a bunch of enemies and killing a bunch of people. That doesn't play a big part in this, and it's not a bad thing, like I said. But it does make the stakes higher for when you do have those bigger set action pieces throughout the game, because you want to actually do well in them. You want to make sure, like, you're killing the game throughout the whole time. So when I know personally, when I was going up against, like, if there was I knew I was about to go up against enemies, I would make sure I was on my A game, because you don't know when the next time you'll see another group of enemies. So you want to make sure you're doing great against those enemies, because it's just something pride-wise within you is like, all right, there's some enemies here finally. Like, all right, I got to kill them. Let me kill them, make sure it look all clean and stuff, and then we can continue with the story. So I don't know if that makes sense, but when you start playing, you'll understand what I mean. But to say that there is enough action throughout the game, scattered throughout the game, to where you do feel like you're still killing people and stuff, but not so much to where it feels like the other Tomb Raider games. And like I said, again, not a bad thing. Like, this is more about Laura as a person rather than just her taking down people. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this game was the added feature of more underwater gameplay, because visually it was just breathtaking, and no pun intended, because you will actually lose your breath if you stay underwater too long. You could die, so don't do that. But they do put up little pockets of air throughout the thing, and they make it harder if you have a more harder difficulty on, or they make it easier if you have less difficulty, But I thought that was a great feature they added. It made the stakes feel more higher, and it made it feel like you're more of an explorer, because you're diving into different locations, swimming under caves, swimming in tombs and stuff, trying to find treasure and all that. So it made you feel like more of an explorer. And I kind of wish that there was a little bit more underwater feature gameplay added in there. And there might be, but this is just speaking from the main storyline, because after you do finish the game, you can still go back and explore and try to find all the treasures and stuff that you missed. So there might still be more underwater gameplay I just haven't reached. But in the main story itself, I could have liked more water in the actual game. I'm not going to fault them for that. Not going to be like 7.5, too much water. And I thought it was great that they added a feature where you can adjust the difficulty in puzzles, because some people out there, like your boy, are not that good at puzzles. But then there's some people out there that want to be on their Indiana Jones type shit, and they want to just solve every puzzle there is. So if you want to be on max hard difficulty, you can do it that way. If you just want to do easy and you're not really into solving puzzles, but you just want to try it, then you can do it on easy, and they'll hook it up for you. So I thought that was a great feature added in, because I was struggling with some of them, and they were on on, I think I had it on mine on like the middle. So, you know, thank you for looking out. And so one of my biggest critiques of the game was the ending. It just felt like it just came to an end so quickly because in my opinion, I was just playing the game. This was one of so this was the last set piece or the last battle, and I finished that, and I thought there was going to be something else to do or more to do in terms of the story. And at the end, it was just like, oh wait, credits are rolling. I was like, oh wait, am I done with the game? What just happened? How we're ending it like that? I mean, they wrap it up they wrap it up nicely, but just the ending climax, it didn't feel like it reached that point yet. So I think that's my biggest critique, is that they could have put a little bit more time into building up to the climax of the game to make it feel like an actual ending and not just, oh wait, we're here, now that credits are rolling, because that's kind of how it felt in my opinion. That's probably the biggest critique I have of the game, is how it got to the ending. But the character arcs for Lara was beautiful, and her relationship with Jonah, seeing that grow and seeing her just be in the community with the Pi TT people, doing whatever it takes to defend them and try to stop Trinity from harassing them and getting into their land. I thought that was great. So the character development overall for Lara Croft was amazing. I'm so glad they focused more on her as a person and not just the story itself. The story overall, great, besides the ending. And the ending itself was not bad. It's just I would have liked them to have a better build up to that, because it just felt like it was like, what the hell? All right, I guess I'll go back and replay it again. But other than that, overall, a great game. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. And some tips I will say is that make sure you save up on resources when it comes to wood and for building arrows and stuff and feathers. You can save, you don't really, I would say only build those arrows when you know you're going to be in combat, and save those for when you want to actually enhance the weapons that you have. You can upgrade those when you get to different campsites. So try to save those more for when you're upgrading your tools and stuff, and not just for the bows and arrows, because those you will use bows and arrows a lot. But I would say I noticed when I was in the back half of the game, I would have liked to have more upgraded weapons, and you can always find arrows and more ammo around the place. So don't worry about crafting more, just worry about like saving those resources, so when you get to the next campsite you can build and upgrade your stuff. So take the time to do that and save up on berries and all of that, and you should be good. And also make sure, that's another Spider-Man thing, is when you get so focused into the game, you forget to upgrade your skills, and you forget to upgrade your weapons and stuff, because you just want to go. Take the time when you get to the campsites to just see what you can upgrade, see what you can enhance, because those will become beneficial for you later on down the road. I know for a fact it would have helped me a lot more when I was fighting some different people and just traversal itself. So it will come in handy all around. So listen to your boy. I give good advice. And for those who do want to be challenged with the game, I would say turn off the hints right off the back, because when I was playing through it, and I had to play through it faster just so I could get up a review that you guys are watching right now. But there were sometimes the hints helped me they helped me throughout the thing, but sometimes I felt like I would have rather just done that for myself, or figured that out for myself. So turn off the hints if you want to be challenged a lot more, because there are sometimes it will feel more satisfying for you to be the one to figure out, oh, this is how I'm supposed to do this, or I'm turning it this way, not, so it's just more of a not a pride thing, but you feel more satisfaction knowing that you did it without the hints, because once it is revealed for you through the hints, you'll be like, I'm stupid as hell. But yeah. But overall, I love the game. Like I said, an 8.5 out of 10. If they would have took the time to build up to more of the end, I would probably give it a 9. But the 8.56 just because of the ending. The cinematography, the animation, beautiful. The action, dope. Not as much as the other games, but it's not a bad thing. The story itself, dope. Besides the end. Yeah, overall, it was a great game. 8.5 out of 10. You will enjoy it. It comes out Friday, so go cop it. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, and we will see you guys later for another video. And we'll also be talking about this a little bit more on the Collider Games podcast, so make sure to check us out over there. You can follow me on Twitter at Dorian Parks and Rec, because Parks and Rec is better than The Office. Thank you guys. Peace up, A-Town down. I'll see you soon.